Hi, I'm Colton with Porsche Centre Calgary, and I'm here today with a particularly lovely piece of pre-owned inventory. This one is a 2021 911 Turbo Cabriolet. I really love this car, and I'll spend some time telling you about why. First, in general terms, it is a 911 Turbo, the 992 generation, so it was an all-new version of the 911 introduced in for the 2020 model year. In 2021, they introduced the Turbo. The Turbos are kind of the, more or less the kind of the halo of the 911 range. They kind of share that space with the RS models, but they're quite different. Blisteringly fast, but not kind of the race-going version, but instead more the luxury kind of side of that spectrum. As I said, this one I love, so I'm anxious to talk about it. But before I do, 3.7 liter. 3.7 liter twin turbo, flat six, makes 572 horsepower, which is a ton. The turbos are always all-wheel drive, so it delivers that power very effectively. The acceleration times you'll see listed from Porsche, I think, are around 3 seconds, but if you look at other independent tests, they're sub 3 seconds by a chunk. The performance is absolutely insane that you get out of these cars, but you can drive them every day as just kind of more or less a regular car as well if you want to. Really impressive stuff. Now, this guy in particular, starting with the outside, this is GT Silver, one of my favorite colors. It's a really deep, rich silver. It'll pick up kind of different hues depending when it's around. You can never go wrong with it. Pretty classic Porsche color as well. Easily, good for hiding things like dirt and scratches as well, and it's always going to retain its value. Silver is very rarely a color that turns somebody completely off on our sports cars. A couple of things to notice on the outside. These wheels are the standard wheels, the 911 Turbo design. That means 20 inches up front, 21 inches in the rear, but then they added the colored crest in the center, which is a subtle touch that I always like to see. Some other stuff on the side. Right next to me here on the side mirror, it is the painted side mirror, so the base would be unpainted black plastic as standard, but here painted body color just to extend that, make it feel a little bit more complete. On that note, along the bottom, it has the sport design side skirt. This is another one of these subtle touches that you might look at two cars and you can't quite put your finger on what's different, but one just looks kind of lower, sportier, nicer. That's often what does it. It's just that extra painted strip along the bottom. Without that, it would be unpainted black plastic, which tends to make the car feel a little bit higher. You've got that black, negative space as opposed to it being filled with the painted option like this. Makes the car appear lower to the ground and just looks really cool. Up front, you'll notice as well it has that big round sensor on it. That's because it has the adaptive cruise control. They'll all have regular cruise, but this has the adaptive cruise, so you can set your following distance from the car in front. If they slow down, it'll slow down for you to maintain that gap that you've set. What you may not be able to see is a smaller camera above that. That's for the surround view camera. So in addition to having a rear view, this one has a camera on the front and one underneath each side mirror to give you the top-down view. Not available on 911s prior to 992 generation, and it's a feature I really love. Makes parking the car super easy, gives you a great perspective to see everything around the car. I love it. I was glad when they finally added it to the 911 range. The headlights are the top level matrix LED headlights, so they will, they have that auto high beam function, but beyond that, there's 84 individual LEDs in the system, and it'll turn off only the specific ones that are affecting the car as it drives by, so you get kind of that dark spot, but the rest of your field of vision is illuminated, which is pretty cool, especially if you drive a lot at night. It makes a huge difference to be able to keep those high beams on that much more of the time. Other stuff outside, around back, it'll have the sport exhaust system in black, so that changes aesthetically the actual shape of the exhaust. You get the oval tips instead of the kind of more squared ones that would be standard on the Turbo. Sport exhaust as well wasn't actually available on Turbo models prior to the 992 either, so nice to be able to hit that button inside and make it sound a little bit more aggressive. Historically, the Turbos have been known to be a little bit quieter because of those turbochargers muffling the sound of the exhaust a little bit. Not the case with this one. It's definitely a little bit more aggressive than in generations prior. Also significantly, you can't necessarily see it from here, but it has the Cabriolet top on this one is brown, which goes so well with the interior, which I think we'll get to next. I think that's about everything on the outside. Oh, another thing you can't see is the Porsche courtesy light. So when you open the door, it projects Porsche onto the ground. It illuminates that onto the ground, which is necessary, maybe not, but really nice. Kind of a cool thing when you're getting in and out of the car. And yeah, brown top to match this lovely truffle brown club leather interior. The club leather is the highest grade of leather that Porsche offers. It's a little bit less treated than the smooth finish leather, which is already a great product, but this is just one step even beyond that. And I love it. I love a brown interior. It's excellent. And then this one has the chalk stitching as well to add a little bit of contrast through there. And then a few extra leather parts. So really, if you want to get indulgent with the options, you can make sure that you're never kind of touching any lesser than material, and minimize your plastics and vinyls and wrap just about everything in leather if you want to. Some of those options were selected on this one, which I love. One being the leather steering column. So that, again, would be black unpainted plastic. When you go leather, not only then does it match the brown of the rest of the car, but yeah, just eliminates some of that plastic, makes everything feel a little bit more premium. And when you open the door, some people will argue your eyes are kind of drawn to that one black spot, especially if it's not a black interior that's not leather. So I always like to see that column wrapped in leather like this one. And then the sun visors too are leather wrapped. They would be vinyl otherwise. A lot of people may not even notice, but when you do have it in leather and you touch that, it's so much smoother, so much, again, more premium feeling. I love it. I'm a big leather guy. Also the trim. So you have kind of the strip of trim along the center of the dash, carrying onto the doors. Lots of different options you can do with that. You can have, aluminum, carbon fiber, wood. The standard trim is effectively a plastic material. It's not bad, but not, again, as premium as when you just cover everything in leather, which is what happened here. So you have another strip of that brown club leather along that lower part of the dash and onto the doors. Really, really nice, and just makes the whole cabin feel very, very complete, kind of sticking with that leather theme, which is awesome. Other stuff inside that I wanted to talk about. Of course, it has the 18-way seats, the most heavily bolstered and kind of the sportiest seat that's available. With these cars, quite often I'll recommend putting the Porsche crest embossed on the headrest, but when you go to the turbo, standard is to have turbo embossed on the headrest, so keep it that way. That's what was done here. It looks really good. Other stuff in there. Oh, of course, the truffle seat belt. So when you select that truffle interior, you would still just have the standard black seat belts. But I really like, again, complete the whole kind of concept, right? And they did the seat belts in truffle, so that all matches, flows really nicely. Love to see that. The seats are heated and ventilated too, if I didn't mention that off the top. And the gear lever, that can be a little bit confusing to people as well, because they call it the aluminum gear lever, and while there is some aluminum on it, you also get more leather. So when you're touching that, it feels just, again, a little bit more premium, a little bit higher end. It's a small piece in theory, right, that you're adding. So is it worth spending the money on if you're ordering new? On a pre-owned car like this, it's just great to see. It's not necessarily increasing or lowering the value, but when you get in the car and physically touch it, and it is something that you touch all the time, right? Every time you get in the car, you will be touching the gear lever, and it just feels that much nicer, reminds you of the high quality of the product that you're in. So yeah, small thing, but I think somewhere definitely worth spending the money on. And of course, shouldn't forget about the sound system. This is the top-end Burmester sound system, so a whole lot more speakers and power than the standard system. If you are a real audiophile with uncompressed audio files, you'll notice a huge difference in sound quality with this compared to the Bose, or certainly compared to just the standard system that Porsche offers. But you also get the aesthetic difference of the metal speaker grills in there, so makes it look pretty cool, and again makes it just feel that much more high-end. And then I talked about the chalk stitching offering a little bit of contrast. They also, with this one, opted to do your rev counter, that center dial, in white, and the sport chrono dial in white too, to give you that little bit of a pop, so everything's not just black and brown in there, and I think it's really well executed. It looks great. The sport chrono package wasn't necessarily an option. I think it's standard on this one, but I'll talk about it anyhow. You have that drive mode switch on the steering wheel, so you can rotate from normal mode to sport and sport plus and individual mode. That also enables the launch control to maximize those acceleration times, and gives you what they call the sport response button. You've got a button in the center of that dial you can press, and it's like a push to pass. You press that and the transmission gears down and holds the back pressure in the turbo, so you just have kind of immediate full power for 20 seconds as it counts that clock down. You can reset it and restart that clock as many times as you like, but you press it and it gives you that countdown. And yeah, when you're on the highway and you want to make that move to get out in front of somebody, it's kind of fun to press that button and just really maximize that opportunity. Pretty cool thing. The GT steering wheel is standard as well, so it has that smaller steering wheel than a regular 911 might have, unless optioned, and it is heated as well. That's standard too, which people don't always recognize. Some other unique stuff: the front axle lift was optioned here, which is another one that's certainly nice to see. Not everybody options it because it is a pricey thing to put on there, but makes it so convenient. You just press the button, within seconds, front end raises up. So if you're pulling into a parking lot and you realize, that's pretty steep, I don't want to scrape the front bumper, it's seconds, lifts up. You know, you get over whatever you need to get over, and then you can either press the button for it to lower down, or once you get up to a high enough speed, it lowers itself down automatically. What you can also do is actually program locations. So if there's somewhere out in the world that you go to frequently and you know you're always going to have to raise it up, you can actually just store that in the system, and then the car knows you're there, raises it up automatically. You can do the same thing for when you get home. If your driveway is steep and you would scrape otherwise, you can just have it automatically raised up. So really, really cool feature to see. Awesome when we get it on pre-owned cars like this one. I think that's about everything content-wise. Really, really special car. Quite often with the turbos, they have a lot more standard equipment, so we don't see so many options selected. But this one got a little bit more indulgent, as I said off the top, and I love to see it. The options get me really excited. Blind spot warning is here too, if I didn't say that. Lane change assist, an important one that isn't missing. Very, very well thought out car. But as well, it is a Porsche approved certified pre-owned vehicle, so that means it'll have extra warranty too. On a brand new car, you would get 4 years or 80,000 kilometers of warranty. With these certified cars, that extends to 6 years and unlimited kilometers. So the original in-service date for this one was February of 2021. So that means it'll have that full comprehensive Porsche warranty until February of 2027, and there's no kilometer limit on that. So this is a great opportunity. You don't have the years-long wait of ordering a new car. You have more warranty than you would get on a new car, and you don't have to pay the luxury tax that you would have to pay on a new car. So yeah, really, really cool opportunity. Really unique and different car, which I really love about it. And very minimal mileage, only about, what is it here, 4,300, something like that, 4,300 kilometers. So next to new, definitely ready for its new owner to appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. When we're done here, we'll have the car on display. So yeah, come down and check it out. Thanks again.